And so we are recording this, and here is Mr. Timmer Halligan, who is going to give us an awesome training.
Bridget Paquette Parker from Gaylord, Michigan.
Welcome, Bridget.
Thank you.
You're muted, Timmer.
Gotcha. Are we good now?
We are good. We can hear you.
All right. Not sure what you all heard, but again, I appreciate you all joining us tonight. Just to get a little bit of extra insight, a little bit of extra training, and a little bit of extra jolt in our juice, right? To be able to get ourselves into 2022. And first, I want to say to all the people in Kentucky and Tennessee and everywhere else, and there's a lot of destruction over those last couple of days. So sending good thoughts your all's ways. Just crazy to watch that. And as we were kicking off the Zoom tonight, and we're checking folks in, I was saying to Annette, I'm like, gosh, it sure miss having Mike Thompson check in and always being there nice and early. That's why everybody came in late tonight. Y'all were doing that just for Mike, weren't you? Everybody came in a little bit late today just so he could get up there and go, guys, when are you gonna get checked in down there? Come on now. So anyway, we got together about 2 weeks ago or a week ago, and we talked a little bit about the why twos, right? And really about the philosophies. And, I was thinking about tonight getting together. Listen, I'm in my 17th year with Legal Shield, and I haven't done everything right, but I've done a few things right. And, many things that, you do and you think it's going to be great, and then it's not. And then you think you've got the next greatest idea, but it's not. And you keep trying to always reinvent your wheel because you try to reinvent yourself. And then you really think about the simplicity of what this business really is all about. And, I think all of us have a desire to want to build something really big, something that we can, leave behind for others, something that we can take all of this incredible knowledge that we have. Listen, there is so much knowledge on this line right now with people that know the how-tos, right? You know them, and we got to just get to the going-tos, right? Which means we're going to just do it. Just like the Nike signet says, just do it, just get out and get it done. And, when I'm talking here, I'm talking to, all of my friends. Every single one of y'all are somebody that I deeply care about. And I know what your visions are and what your goals are and the things that you'd like to get accomplished and understanding what your why's in. And, for myself and vice versa, I'm an open book on, what I want to try and get done and want to help folks out. And, I was just talking to Mr. Drennan earlier tonight and just thinking about, how many years? 17 years. I remember so many of the different things that we talked about so many times back in the past. Mr. Drennan, I was talking last week about being core, right? Just knowing what your core things are that you've got to do to be successful in this business. And I still remember a conversation one time that we were talking about earning money and marketing memberships and things. And we were on this call, and it was right after I'd kind of started getting myself involved with the team, right? I'd kind of been on my own for the first few years by my choice, stupidly, but that's what I did. And I remember we're on this call and we're talking about, who's got the most sales in their organization. And it was like myself and John Drennan and Rod Erb and a couple other folks. I don't remember who. And I remember he said, well, Timmer, you've done like 89% or 91% of all the sales in your organization. And I'm going, oh, that's great. I'm patting myself on the back. And then they keep on moving on up the line. They get to Mr. Drennan. They're like, hey, Mr. Drennan, you had 1% of the sales in your organization. And I'm thinking, I go, wait a minute, that guy's got a 6-figure ring on and he's selling 1% of the memberships. And I don't have a ring. I'm making about $15,000 a year, but I'm selling a lot of memberships. And then it came down to just being core and doing the right things. And here's what I believe. If you open the door for someone, you open the door for your success. See, when we introduce this opportunity to people, we are all proud of what we do. Everybody raise their hand if you're proud of what Legal Shield does, right? You're proud. You like the services. They help you out. They've helped you out, in a situation that you've been in, and it's helped you out or your clients out in a situation. And I remember one time I was I was walking on the beach with Amy. We were on one of the trips, and I just said to her, I said, God, there needs to be more people on this trip. You know, we've been on a whole bunch of the trips, just, you know, just blessed, right? And, you know, it's because we tell people about the opportunity. And see, what we've got to do in this opportunity is realize some people need doors open right now. They need them open more now than probably ever before. You know, people are seriously waiting. I mean, they have to be. Forget what we think. I watch. I see. I mean, I know what you know. People are out there working. They're working jobs. It really, literally takes a couple jobs just to be comfortable. And people are looking for extra things to be able to do because they don't want to do. And we know, number one, that when we write a membership, we get paid. I remember John Drennan said to me one time when somebody said the business doesn't work, and he shared this story. He said, "So when you sent in the membership, they didn't pay you?" Well, no, that's not what I meant. The business just didn't work. Oh, so when somebody signed an associate agreement, they didn't actually join your business, right? Because it comes with recruiting people and then getting them to do some things or working with them to get them to do some things. So tonight, what we're going to talk about is recruit is a great word. You know, my daughter just got recruited to college. I'm the proudest papa in the whole world. My God, you see the grade that I've got that she has put me through over the last, you know, several months, just sitting there waiting. But recruit is a great word. You want to get recruited. I mean, people want to be recruited into something that's bigger and better than what they have today. They want it. People like to get recruited. You know, I think of Coach Harkema all the time when I think about the word recruit. And then he talks about the numbers. You can all remember them. 900 letters go out at the beginning of the year. 900. You know, and of those 900, maybe 400 may respond. And maybe out of those 400, 150 will say they'll come to a visit to a school. And then out of that 150, maybe 100 will come or 85 will come. And out of that 85, maybe 30 will end up coming. And out of those 30, 4 will become All-Americans. And then 1 maybe go play on the in the NFL, right? That's the numbers. But man, if you knew that you had numbers like that could get you there. See, I mean, you want to think about what's holding you back. And I know what it is for a lot of folks, but y'all got to figure that part out. I remember my day of reckoning, the day when I believed recruiting was such a powerful day. I was sitting in, recruiting is so powerful. I was sitting in Larry's Diner, and those that live in Plainfield know Larry's Diner. I was standing there in the room and I'm talking, and I was always good about talking about the membership. But the opportunity, I was kind of like, ooh, network marketing. I'm not sure. How's our people going to feel? What are they going to think? And finally, I'm sitting there. And at the time, we were a $450 million New York Stock Exchange traded company. And so at that point, I said, man, what are you waiting for? They pay you every time you write a membership. If somebody else writes a membership, they're going to pay them exactly the same. They're going to have the same law firm performing the work that you're out here selling memberships for as well. So now you've just got an extra arm, an extra branch that can go out there and tell people about the services. So that was my day of reckoning. So make today yours. We're like, you know what? I'm going to start. Now you got to do it with tact and you got to do it with style. And, you know, you can't be the person that goes walking out and everywhere you walk around, you got this sign up saying I'm recruiting people and make lots of money and do all that sort of stuff. That's not what it's all about. But what it is about is getting in front of people doing the same things over and over and over. Listen, I've always said this in team building. You know, if you can become a master of about 4 things, right? And that is number 1, getting your list created and then being able to help others create it. Become a master of the invitation where you understand the invitation process. I mean, there is some things that you just get better, but I look at it kind of like acting. You know when it's your time to say your line, you know when it's the right time to be able to insert the invitation. You become a master of the 3-way call. Get good at getting people on. You get the new associates started right. Now, I said become a master of all those, but let me tell you this. If you become good, you will be just fine. I mean, quite literally, if you can just get good and consistent at doing these things. Listen, we all know the importance of creating a list. I'm not going to beat that down. I'm not even going to talk much about it. You write a bunch of people's names down. And from the names, you have an opportunity to pique their interest and get them looking at what it is that we're doing. And then when you follow the process, it's interesting. This slide right here, I've been using since I started really taking the business seriously, 12 years. I keep thinking of 13, 14, whatever it is. How many, 17 years? Yeah, about 12 years, about 5 years in, I started taking it serious. But it's like when you look at a baseball diamond, you don't decide because you've been watching baseball for so long that you're going to switch center field and right field. You're not going to make all of a sudden second base, third base, and third base first because you're tired of people running the exact same ways all the time. The game's starting to get boring. No, that's not how it's played. So when you figure out how to play this game, right, it says system right there, save yourself time, energy, and money. But if it's simple as just always piquing people's interest, I think it was Bill, Bill out of Iowa. You know, he's got this thing where you just hand people your card. And it says, when you hand them your card, after you've had a conversation with them, you simply say to them, if there's anything I can ever do to help you, please let me know. It's been great speaking with you. You hand them the card. And the person looks at it and says, Legal Shield. What's that? You've now piqued their interest. Okay, that's got them thinking a little bit. They're asking a question. So they pique their interest, and now what you'll say to them in that moment is, they say, "Hey, what's Legal Shield?" You go, "Wow, you've never heard of them?" And I would always say this: it's an amazing company. Let me ask you a question. If you could pick up the phone and you could call an attorney about any legal situation whatsoever, and you never had to worry about getting a bill, would you call attorneys more often? They say, well, yes. And I say, that's what I said when I took a look at this 17 years ago. If I send you some information, would you take a look at it? See, now I go right into the invite. Pique the interest with the business card. Pique the interest with anything. Hey, what is it you do for work? I work for a company called Legal Shield. You heard of them? They say, no. Really? Oh man, amazing company. Let me ask you a question. If you could pick up the phone and you could call a top-rated law firm about any legal situation whatsoever, and you never had to worry about getting a bill, do you think that you would call attorneys more often? They say, well, yes. I say, that's what I said 17 years ago, right? I mean, and then we get them to look at some information. We could send them on a Zoom, or we could send them to get onto a call, but we're going to talk more about that in just a second. Dave Savola, the late, great Dave Savola. For those that did not know, Dave was the #1 money earner in Legal Shield. I mean, just one heck of a guy, man. I mean, how many of y'all can laugh and think about the story he told when he was driving down the road and he looked into his mirror and he saw the blue flashing light and he thought it was the policeman behind him and it was the Bluetooth going off, beeping blue, and he pulled himself over. I mean, the guy was just unbelievable. But here's what he knew. Meetings make money. And here's what the meetings were. Meetings are what we had and what we're actually getting more back to as this world starts to open up, or when you gather people together. Well, over the last 2 years or so, our people have been gathering together via Zoom, right? I mean, that's what it is that we've been doing. But the concept never changes. The meetings are where money is made. When you get people to see the information, that's where the money is made. And so it really comes down to just invite. Don't get it out of order. And it doesn't say invite and 3 people show up. It doesn't say invite and 5 people need to show up. It just says invite. Okay, if you just invite people with the right attitude, with the right level of conversation, I promise you it'll go up, but you have to be consistent. See, again, it goes right back to the very, very beginning when you've got your list. You have to have your list presented. Once your list is organized, now you can invite the heck out of people to come take a look at information. And so you think about, how do you invite people? We're going to talk about that for a second. Number 1 is with confidence. You got to be confident when you invite people to stuff. And you can invite them a variety of different ways. You can call them on the phone. Listen, I think that's the lost art, is phone, because you can get so much more out of a phone call but yet so many people prefer other methods and mechanisms. But a phone call is is one of the best ways you get to interact with the person. So you call them up, and we're going to walk through the process in just a minute, but you call them up and you go into the script, or you go into the routine, or you go into the conversation. You know, third party three-way calls. A lot of times you may introduce somebody to somebody. I mean, think about this. In fact, I've done this probably 3 or 4 or 5 times this week outside of Legal Show, because it works in everything that you do. So I come up, I've got somebody sitting at a restaurant, I'm sitting there and I'm chatting with, and somebody else comes in that I know. That person who comes in that I know, I take a minute just to introduce them. I edify the guy who just walked in. I edify the person sitting at my table. I let them chat for a minute, and things happen. It's the same way in our recruiting process. You text them. Texting is money, but you got to know what to say when you text. Okay, you can't just text massively. Hey, guess what? We've got this going on tonight. If you're looking for extra money and you want to do this, join this call right now. You're really going to find it's a tremendous 40-year-old company or 50-year-old company, blah, 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 blah. You got to work the text. Okay, you got to work the text. It's a conversation. And you can determine, you know, how big the conversation, how long it is, but you got to have a conversation. Email, not too bad. Probably not my first preference. At least that's just for me. But now there are people who like to communicate via email. Now, if you ask my daughter, she would Snapchat. And I keep telling her, my goodness, I mean, honey, you're going to get in the real world. Not everybody's going to be Snapchatting. And who knows? Social media, private messaging, right? I mean, some of these things may not be around, but you got to do it with confidence. And we'll talk more about that. So what do you say when you are going to invite somebody? You're always going to invite them, whether I'm going to invite you to watch a video, or whether I'm going to invite you to a Zoom. Me personally, I'm always going to clear their time first. And I'm going to do that in a variety of different ways. I'm not just going to go, hey, what's going on? What are you doing tomorrow night at 5 o'clock? I mean, we may be chatting back and forth, and, you know, I'm always going to, my invitation is always part of a conversation. But there's a sense of urgency to it because they're busy, I'm busy. That's just the way you get the most things done. So let's say if I'm calling up my buddy Dan Johnson, I'm like, hey, Dan, it's Timmer. What's going on, man? He's like, hey, not too much. How's the kids? How's the kids, man? Sean's still rooting for the White Sox as always. Oh yeah, he will. You know, he'll die a White Sox fan. I'm like, yeah, he does. But I did get to wear a Cubs jersey one time before, and I'd say everything else good. He's like, yeah. I'd say, hey man, what are you doing tomorrow night about 5 o'clock? I don't have any plans, Timmer. Wow, that's awesome. Hey, listen, we have not had a chance to talk, but I've been working with this company for a little while. Whatever your next story is going to be, because that part's always going to be a little different. I may say, hey, listen, I can't say I just started with a new company. I could say, hey, listen, you know what? I've been working on this project for the last 17 years and recently moved here to North Carolina, and I'm looking to expand. Sounds like you're available. Can I count on you to jump on and listen? See, I'm going to always clear their schedule first. I'm going to always edify them and say, thanks so much. I really value your opinion, Dan. Or thanks so much, Dan. I know you've had success in other areas. I'd love you to take a look at what it is that we're doing. So I'm going to clear their time first. I'm going to edify them. I'm going to invite them. Say, hey, listen, tomorrow night about 7 o'clock, they've already told me they're available. Tomorrow night about 7 o'clock, one of my business partners is going to be chatting about what it is that we do. We're going to be doing a Zoom. If I send you over the link, would you listen? It sounds like you're available. I keep bringing it all the way back. It's the same process over and over and over. And then I'm going to say, great, I'm going to send you over the information. Or, you know, hey, listen, Dan, what are you doing right now? Nothing. Hey, you got about 5 minutes? Yeah, excellent. If I send you over this video, would you take a look at it? I just asked you if you're available. And could you give me 5 minutes? And maybe you send them just a short little 2-minute video. I mean, hey, if you got a little extra, you may say, hey, what are you doing for the next 10 minutes? You send them something on the membership. I don't know. The whole process is about talking to as many folks as you can and just being confident and having some fun with the invitation process. Listen, nothing is going to happen, right? I mean, nothing's going to happen when you go to say something to folks. My friend Alistair Edwards, $300,000 income earner. And again, his story says it all. I'll tell you first what he said to me. We were talking about following up with people and reaching out to people. And he said, no blood, you're not going to bleed. Nothing's going to happen. Well, his story, Alistair Edwards, $300,000 income earner, used to be a general manager at Publix down in Georgia. And he had this guy that kept coming every single week to invite him to a briefing. And every single week he said no. He finally came down after many weeks and said, listen, if I go with you tonight, will you promise not to stop by my work anymore? He went to that event and $300,000 ring earner. So you clear their time first, edify them, invite them to the event, follow up, and have a three-way call all set up. See, this is, again, important. This actually, oh, team Zooms. Yes, team Zooms are awesome. That's another great thing to invite people to. Why do I love team Zooms so much? And we have them on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays at 8 p.m. And that's for the membership and the opportunity. Tuesdays, Thursdays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. And that's for the membership. They are easy to do. They are easy for your prospects to do. They leverage your time. They help you to sort through who's interested. But everyone's got to support them, right? You got to work to get those supported. Now, I know some folks, I have a hard time if I'm working at the club getting there at 12:30, but I can invite people to be there. See, that leverages your time. You don't actually have to be there. They just need to be there, right? If you can be there, of course, be there. But the team Zooms are incredible to get people to be able to take a look at it. And then we're going to talk a little about the power of the three-way calls. They are our most powerful tool that we've got. Like when you bring it all together, because they can be used in so many different ways. Listen, I know that if I want to get my daughter to get something done, I'm going to ask one of the other people that she hits with at the club to ask her. Because if I ask her to do it, she's going to say no. I have somebody else ask her to do it, she's going to say yes. And that works with every person around you. I promise you. And so three-way calls are so powerful because they're used in a variety of different ways. I love that graphic there, the power of three-way calls. Like there's magic in your phone or something, but there really is. You definitely want to use them when you welcome new associates onto the team. You definitely want to use them when maybe you're looking to help invite somebody as a process or move the person along, right? Maybe you're going to, you talk to them, maybe they've seen a video and then you're going to invite them to a live event, or maybe they've been on a three-way call with somebody else before, and now you're going to maybe direct them to the website and actually close the deal, and you're going to finish it. You're going to use them to check on your team, right? Maybe you and a teammate call up one of their associates together and you say, hey, we're just checking in. We're just checking to see how things are going. Use them to promote stuff, team events, get people to attend. We've got Oklahoma City coming up in April, 50th anniversary. I mean, you just do not want to miss it. It is the 50th anniversary. Put it down now, get yourself there. And it's also designed to close sales, I'm saying, but you got to keep them brief. I say under 10 minutes. I mean, 10 is like the max. Sometimes you're going to strike into a conversation. I promise you, no matter what you do, it's just going to become a longer conversation, but that's not the intention of it, right? Keep the three-way calls under 10 minutes. And here's the way that it flows. The three-way call is as simple as, myself, John Drennan, let's say John is the prospect, and let's say that Lynn Schuster-Williams is the associate, and I'm the expert, right? So Lynn gets John on the phone. She says, ring, ring, or it rings. He picks it up. She says, hey, John, it's Lynn. Do you have a minute? Do you have a minute? Now, John does not know I'm on the phone. And my personal style is to not try to set up three-way calls. I just think that people overthink them. People get stressed about them. You just do them, right? So you call them up. Now, if John says, yes, I have a minute, Lynn says, great, because I've got my business partner, Timmer Halligan, on the phone right now, and I want to take a minute to introduce the two of you. Now, if John says no, don't go, oh, well, man, I got this guy on the phone, and no, just abandon ship, start all over, and we go back to square one, and we'll call him back. Hey, no problem. When can I call you back? How about Tuesday at 2:00? Awesome. Tuesday at 2. Have a great day. Bye. Tuesday at 2, we call him back up, ask the exact same question. John, do you have a minute? John says, yes, I do. Lynn says, that's great, because I want to take a minute and introduce you to my business partner and good friend, Mr. Timmer Halligan. Timmer, I've known for a long, long time. I've known him because we played tennis together growing up. He went on and played college tennis. He's been with Legal Shield, our company, for about 17 years now. And, has done some really great things, whatever you're going to say. And Timmer, this is my friend, John. John and I went to college together. And, we actually participated many on school boards and different things like that. And, his children, they grew up knowing each other. We've just known each other for a really, really long time. He's just a super awesome guy. Let me introduce the two of you guys. And then I'm going to build rapport with John. I'm going to share a little bit of my story. I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to listen a lot to his story. Now, let's say at this point, Lynn may say, hey, Tim or John just watched the Zoom that we had, or John has seen a video or whatever. And then this whole process starts. Build rapport, share your story, ask questions, and then I'll move him to the next step is, are you ready to get started? If he says no, I say, okay, great. Let's go ahead and, maybe if can I send you over something else? Or we've got this live event going on, or have you seen this video here? Or I just keep moving them along to whatever that next step is. And so if you master this process, how do you do it? You just practice it. You just get them on. You can't have a bad one, right? I mean, you just got to follow the steps. Master the process, 4 steps. Once you get them online, build rapport, share your story, ask questions, move to the next step, keep it under 10 minutes. Edify, trust, respect. That's the way the process works. And then once you get them started in the business, get them on to the game plan interview. Get over to begintheascent.com. You haven't been over in a while. It's still there. It's still working. The getting started page is all still everything you need to get them going on that first day. Talk about what their why is. Get them to use their membership. Understand what the fast start qualifying process is, set up that date to get them fast. You just go down the checklist, the non-negotiable items. It's like, listen, you got to be on our team Zoom when we have them, the once a weeker that we have. And if we have a team training, you got to be there. You got to try and make one Super Saturday a week, one briefing a week, one Super Saturday a month, one briefing a week, which is really one Zoom. And those are the things that are kind of non-negotiable if you want to build and have success. See, if you're trying to build a team, you're going to want to have people who are willing to do the right things. Get them to do their PCC or private business Zoom, get them paid within the first 2 weeks and get some welcome calls going. And then you start the philosophies again, which is followed from the skills, which is be in Performance Club. Be in Performance Club. I think I just passed 201 months. And let me tell you, 200 months, every month is never easy. It's not, man. Some months you're just like, what the heck? Other months you're like, holy cow, I'm done. But you got to just keep doing the exact same thing. You just keep going right back to the beginning and you say, I got somebody that I've talked to. They're the person that's on your list. I got somebody I know. They're the person on my list. I got something I want to share with you. What are you doing on Friday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday around noon? What are you doing right now? I can say, what are you doing that I could fit something in there that's going to take up a block of your time? Because that's what it really comes down to. So then you get self-leadership, you're in PC. You teach others to get into PC. And then if you can teach others to teach others and repeat that, that is where the big team comes from. That's where it comes from. Teaching others to teach others and repeat it. Listen, making it happen. Exposure is everything. We know that. Get as many. Fortune is in your follow-up. You got to follow back up with people. How many people do you call every day? As many as you can follow up with the next. Don't find yourself killing yourself making 60 calls on Monday, and you can do that every Monday. You're much rather do 2 or 3 a day every day because you won't be able to follow up with them. And then guess what? You get frustrated because this business is designed to be built on a part-time basis. If you have full-time, my goodness, you got the cat's meow. If you got more than a few hours a day, goodness gracious. Now you got to make sure you fill those few hours extra each and every day with the right stuff and work with the willing. What does that mean? That means the people that are willing to show up, people that are willing to be there. And it all comes down to decision. It comes down to saying, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a big team this year. I'm going to build something big in 2022. Frank Coin said just a few short weeks ago, you're only one person away from something really spectacular. So you don't want to scare the person away. You want to attract them to you by saying the right things. Now, commitment is we're preparing early for 2022. I was talking to Jason Wardell today, and I said, listen, some people are going to get their goals set for 2022, and by 3 days into 2022, they're going to already be done. They're going to be shot. They're going to be over. They're going to be quitting, right? Some people are going to be 3 months into 2022 and still pushing for their goals. Some folks will be 6 months into 2022. Some folks will be at the end of the year going, man, I got that done. I executed it. I am ready to go, because commitment is long after the emotion is gone in which you say you're going to do something, you just keep on doing it. So here's a couple of things. I want you to go into your LS Engage. I want you to print the 10 core commitments, okay? Then I want you to watch these videos below. If you go to begintheascent.com, how to give an effective game plan interview, create $1 million list with John Drennan, how to master the invitation, watch how to master the three-way calls. There's 3 videos that are there, 4 videos, and all together, they're a total of 20 minutes, like 5 minutes each. They're gonna go over everything we just talked about. Then invite at least 3 people to an event or watch a video. Just practice it. That's the only way you get good at it, is just practice it. And if you do all those things, let me tell you, 2022, it's so weird even saying it, 2022, can you believe it? 2022 is going to be incredible. It really, really is. I mean, there's one thing I keep learning more and more each and every day is that you appreciate each day that you've got, and you can make such an impact, not only on somebody's life by bringing this opportunity, this membership, but your future, right? You absolutely can do that. So I appreciate y'all joining us tonight. We're going to wrap up the recording. We're going to open it up like we did last week for 5 minutes of any comments or questions. And let me go ahead and do this.